Right now on CBS News Miami, rainy in South Florida with dropping temperatures. How long will the rain last and how cool will it get? My updated forecast is next.
Question tonight after a crash engine tragedy. We have the latest in a live report.
A pedestrian struck and killed. Now traffic trouble, street closures, and an ongoing investigation will tell you where to stay away from.
And let the madness begin. We're there as the Canes in New York for round one of the NCAA tournament.
Good evening and thank you on all of our CBS News Miami platforms. I'm Lauren Pastrana.
And I'm Eliott Rodriguez. CBS News Miami starts right now.
This is CBS News Miami.
Wanted a cool down. It is here, but yeah, you got to pay for it with some clouds and rain. You can see all the activity on our next weather radar network. Let's find out just how long the rain will stay with us.
And some raindrops. Next weather chief meteorologist Ivan Cabrera joins us. Ivan.
What a day. I mean, this is incredible. We have temperatures with the rain in the 60s. We've had overnight lows the last week that haven't gone below 70 degrees. So this is quite something. And the rain, it will continue. It's not going to last all night. In fact, I'm seeing the last leading edge of what will be the end of this rainfall. You can see that right over northwestern Miami-Dade County. Once this batch moves, going to be done and then dry air begins to work in, but we still have some rainfall at the time of the, well, at least the early part of the evening commute from Fort Lauderdale, Aventura down towards Miami. We showed you the camera there across Broward, but you can see there some pockets of heavy rainfall. Palmetto 836. Everybody's getting pockets of not just, light showers, but some moderate showers at times. But again, all of this is pushing east rapidly at around 30 miles an hour. So we'll be out of this in about an hour or two, and then we'll be done with this. That brought a little more rain than I was certainly thinking yesterday, and that's why the temperatures have dropped so quickly. That physically pulls the cool air from up above, and it has done so efficiently so far this afternoon. See the conditions beginning to improve into the mid-60s by our 11 o'clock newscast, and then much cooler for tonight. How about some 50s in the forecast? We'll talk about that. And yes, another front coming in for the week. You'll want to stay tuned for that. Weather will impact your Saturday and Sunday. I'll see you in a few minutes.
All right, Ivan, thank you. Now at 5, a woman is dead after a rollover wreck in Miami Gardens. Police say that the car ended up slamming into a car dealership, damaging at least 5 other vehicles.
Miami's Yvonne Taylor joins us live from the scene with what we're learning at this hour. Yvonne.
And it's still hard to believe seeing Eliott and Lauren. We're talking about a 21-year-old woman who lost her life. Her car ended up in this car dealership located on 440 County Line Road. I'm going to show you that you can see still debris scattered right here. Abel Castillo, photographer who's with me, is showing you how personal belongings are still scattered at the parking lot of the dealership. All this over 10 hours after the accident happened, which it occurred at around 7 in the morning. Now I'm going to take you to some Chopper 4 video. It captured the scenes early in the morning. Miami Gardens police said the driver of a gray police Camry clipped the median, causing the car to spin across multiple lanes until it ended up into the dealership lot. And this is one of the vehicles towed from employees at the car dealership said it was the Toyota Camry driven by the. And now I'm going to take you to some of the cars damaged as a result of the accident. Of them destroyed, now they're saying it could be 5. You can see on each of them the severity of the impact caused by the crash before the Camry landed on its roof. At this time, we're waiting for the medical examiner's office to release the name of the victim, described so far as a 21-year-old woman. Back out live, it's still unknown what could have caused this violent accident here in Miami Gardens. Police say that they are still investigating. So it is still, we are awaiting for the medical examiner to reveal the identity of this 21-year-old woman. For now, this is all we have. Live in Miami Gardens, I'm Yvonne Taylor, CBS News, Miami.
Yvonne, thank you. Also tonight, traffic trouble trouble after a deadly accident in Miami. A pedestrian was hit by a car along the 8200 block of North Miami Avenue this afternoon. That driver stayed on scene. Traffic is still being affected in that area at this time as police investigate.
Miami-Dade police are searching for clues into a deadly shooting tonight. It happened late last night along Northwest 5th Court near 85th Street. Investigators say when officers arrived on the scene, they found a man shot and killed in front of a home. No word on what led to the shooting or who police may be searching for right now.
Shots fired into a Chase Bank in Miami Gardens. Police say it was a total of 8 shots. It happened last night along Northwest 183rd Street and 57th Avenue. The bank had been closed for part of the day, but services eventually resumed. Police are now investigating to figure out who fired the shots and why.
And new video tonight shows Miami Fire Rescue saving a worker who took a long fall at the Miami-Dade water treatment plant. The worker was pressure cleaning inside a water clarifier 20 feet below ground level and fell about 7 feet from a scaffolding. The Miami Technical Rescue Team and other units were dispatched to rescue the victim using specialized equipment. They descended to the ground level, accessed the man, and then another team hoisted him up. He was then taken to the Ryder Trauma Center in stable condition.
Free at last after serving 35 years of a 400-year sentence for an armed robbery he did not commit. We brought you the emotional reunion Monday when Sidney Holmes walked out of jail and into the arms of his loved ones. Today, he sat down with CBS News Miami's Chelsea Jones.
It's only been a day, roughly. How was it to sleep outside of jail and just be surrounded by your family?
Lovely, because the food, they feed awful. So being out, being able to sleep in a comfortable bed, being able to just being going outside at night, just the smell of fresh air. It's unreal.
So many things we sometimes take for granted. Ahead at 6, Sidney Holmes tells us about his first meal as a free man.
Can't wait for that story. The man accused of attacking a GOP canvasser faced a judge today. Javier Lopez is charged with aggravated battery. His trial was set for this month, but his attorney asked the judge for more time to prepare for the case, and the judge agreed to that. Lopez's trial has been moved to May 22nd, but he's set to be back in court on May 10th for a status hearing. Police say the 25-year-old is one of 2 men who attacked Christopher Monzon while he was passing out political flyers for Senator Marco Rubio and Governor Ron DeSantis in Hialeah.
Also tonight, allies of former President Trump fired the latest political attack on Governor DeSantis, saying they are filing an ethics complaint claiming that the governor is using his office to mount a shadow presidential campaign. The draft of the complaint addressed to the Florida Commission on Ethics states that DeSantis' activity, including travel to primary states, a book deal, and meetings with potential donors and campaign staff, violates state and federal campaign finance laws. A fundraising group tied to Trump called Make America Great Again Inc. made the announcement. DeSantis has not yet entered the contest for the Republican presidential nomination, but even so, he is one of the leading candidates.
Also tonight, amid anxiety in the banking sector, new data out today adds to the murky picture of the U.S. economy. Inflation slowed with good news for grocery items like eggs and vegetables, but so did consumer spending, giving the Federal Reserve a lot to think about as it considers its next move on interest rates. For CBS News Miami, here's Karen Kaifa.
Another key inflation gauge is down, but so is consumer spending, according to government data released Wednesday. And turmoil in the banking sector could complicate the Federal Reserve's course ahead.
The question is, what is the stability of the U.S. economy and the financial system? And that's still a question mark.
On the heels of Tuesday's report that consumer prices pulled back, the Labor Department said wholesale prices slowed last month, too, to 4.6% year over year from 6% in January. That means producers sold their goods for less, so consumers could soon see lower prices at the stores. Driving the drop, a 36.1% plunge in the wholesale cost of eggs. Wholesale prices of fruits and vegetables also fell. But after a hot start to 2023, consumer spending cooled in February. The Commerce Department said retail sales dropped 0.4%, with Americans pulling back on dining out, auto sales, and furnishings. Slowing consumer spending to cool inflation is the strategy for the Federal Reserve's recent interest rate hikes. But Wednesday saw pressure on the global banking sector after U.S. anxiety seemed to calm Tuesday after the Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank collapses.
It indicates to me that the systemic question, the systemic worry is still alive, and we will just have to see how this plays out over the coming days.
That may prompt the Fed to change its approach when it announces its next decision on interest rates next Wednesday. In Washington, Karen Kafa, CBS News, Miami.
March Madness is upon us, and in South Florida, all eyes are on the Canes.
The University of Miami's first stop in the big dance is Albany, New York. CBS News Miami anchor Jim Barry has more on how the Canes stack up in the tournament. Jim.
Well, guys, remember last season the Canes made school history by reaching the Elite Eight for the very first time. This year's team won the ACC regular season crown and might be more explosive than that squad. ACC Player of the Year Isaiah Wong and his teammates shove off from Coral Gables this morning, looking to make some noise in this year's tournament. Beforehand, Coach Jim Larinaga took them through a final practice here, and this was a good sign. Big man Norchad Omier, who sprained his ankle in the ACC tournament, lost to Duke, moving pretty well. Looks like he is raring to go. Now, the Canes are the 5th seed in the Midwest region. Their first game is Friday night against Drake, a pretty dangerous 12th seed, but UMC's head coach wants his guys to forget the pressure and have some fun.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Even if you get to go to the tournament, you have different players and different experiences, different matchups. So you really want to enjoy this. You're only young once. You all know that, right? So enjoy it.
I definitely know that, Jim. UM is in a region where the top seeds are the Houston Cougars and Texas Longhorns. Tough teams, but the battle-tested Canes, I think, can hang with most anybody. Their one bugaboo this year is giving up big leads. Don't want to do that this time of year. All right, starting tomorrow night, catch our new streaming sports show called Game Changers on CBSNewsMiami.com or find CBS Miami on your favorite streaming platform. First episode airs tomorrow night at 8 p.m. and Friday at 1 p.m. Join me, Mike Killian and Kill Camper for our unscripted and unrehearsed take on the hot topics in sports, guys.
I was in the control room the other day while they were shooting it. It's a great show.
Dangerous.
You never know what these guys are going to say.
Exactly.
And speaking of game changers, you may have noticed something new, vibrant, and different about the news today. We are now CBS News Miami.
That name is a promise to bring you the superior storytelling of CBS News across all platforms with a focus on the stories that make South Florida a better place to live.
And this is our redesigned home, used in a way to help you better understand the impact everyday stories have on your life.
So we hope you'll stick around for a bit and join us as early as 4:30 a.m. and, of course, all day through the 11 p.m. newscast on air. CBS News Miami through the CBS News app, Pluto TV, and CBSMiami.com.
We're here for you. We invite you to watch. All right, ahead at 5:30, marking 5 years since the deadly pedestrian bridge collapse, how FIU remembered the tragedy.
Next at 5, it's a case that could jeopardize access to abortion pills. Find out who brought the lawsuit and what they want a federal judge to do immediately.
And there's a new top dog. The American Kennel Club releases its annual list. Labrador Retriever owners will not be happy.
All right, and it is Seattle in Miami today, the coolest and wettest day in a month. Find out when we dry out and when we warm right back up next.
This is CBS News Miami.
Welcome back to CBS News Miami. The future of abortion pills in the United States is in question with a lawsuit underway in Texas right now. A U.S. district judge is holding a hearing about whether to ban sales of the pills, even in states where the drug remains legal.
In November, anti-abortion rights groups sued the FDA, which approved the drug more than 2 decades ago. When used with a second drug, it's considered the most common method of abortion in the U.S. CBS News Miami's Michael George reports.
Protesters gathered at this Texas courthouse where a conservative federal judge is considering a case that could halt nationwide use of the abortion pill mifepristone.
After the overturn of Roe, millions of women have lost access to abortion care, especially here in Texas. So the access to medication abortion is one of the last options that we have.
The lawsuit filed by anti-abortion groups is asking for an immediate order that would revoke or suspend the drug's FDA approval. More than 20 years ago, the FDA gave mifepristone the green light in combination with a second pill as a safe and effective method to induce a medicated abortion.
What people are asking for is not just say that the FDA was incorrect in approving mifepristone, not just for this district in Texas, but nationwide.
Government lawyers contend taking the drug off the market would unravel reproductive care for women in the U.S. and undermine federal oversight of prescription drugs.
This case could have profound implications for access to abortion throughout the entire United States. Targeting medication abortion is a way of really cracking down and enforcing these draconian abortion restrictions that have popped up and are being enforced in so many states in the wake of the Supreme Court overruling Roe.
Danco Laboratories, which makes the drug, is joining the FDA in arguing to keep the pill available. Justice Department attorneys would likely appeal any decision against mifepristone and seek an emergency stay to prevent the ruling from taking effect. Michael George, CBS News.
The judge who appointed by then President Donald Trump took the unusual step of asking lawyers for the, quote, courtesy of not publicizing upcoming arguments, according to a court record.
The mother of the 14-year-old boy who fell to his death from the Orlando free fall thrill ride last year visited the site where her son was killed nearly a year after the tragedy. Her visit comes as crews are working to dismantle the ride. This is the first time that Tyree Sampson's mother visited the site. She spoke about a new bill named after her son to make sure amusement rides are safer in Florida.
I do appreciate the state of Florida, the Department of Agriculture, all of those people for agreeing and allowing this ride to come down, because it's a tragic, it's a horrendous ride. Should have never have been built, if you ask me.
Tyree Sampson was visiting from Missouri when he slipped from his seat on the 400-foot tall thrill ride at Icon Park. His parents have filed a wrongful death lawsuit against several entities involved.
One of the largest school takeovers ever in the U.S. unfolding in Texas, as state education officials have taken control over the Houston Independent School District. Local leaders of the largest school district in the state, with nearly 200,000 students, got the letter this morning informing them of the move. This comes amid a lack of performance among students in the district. Democrats call the move political. The state hopes to turn back control locally, but they say they must see progress in the district's students first.
Meantime, a nor'easter pummeled residents, leaving thousands without power. The conditions led fire officials to have to rescue one child in New Hampshire who was trapped under a tree after playing outside. And one longtime dairy farmer owner in New Hampshire had their barn collapse. Some of the cows there died. Luckily, no one was hurt.
And to give you another idea of just how much snow fell in just the last 24 hours, take a look at this. The severe weather not stopping this determined dog walker, or the dog, in New Hampshire. That person was all bundled up as they trekked through the knee-deep snow with their pup there. I mean, at that point, maybe pick up the pup. My dog won't even go outside if it's sprinkling.
Wow. You know, it's moments like that that make people say, that's it, I'm moving to Florida.
That's right.
Once and for all, and never having to deal with this again.
And we can't blame them, but they got to deal with some rain now and again, right?
Or you
Ivan?
get a cat like I do.
There you go.
Indoors, no problem. And we're good to go. Unbelievable. Every time we've been showing you the snow video out west, then we've come right back here, and I've shown you temperatures right at 90 degrees. Not today. We can relate a little bit more as far as the temperatures. Much, much cooler. The coolest day we've had in quite some time. You can see the rain continuing on X-Radar Network here. We are about done, though, so that's the good thing. And we are pushing the heaviest rain offshore, so just some nuisance showers left over here across Coral Springs, Tamarack, heading down towards Miami-Dade, and now beginning to move off into the waters here. The Keys have been seeing some good rain. That started for you last night. We got another batch that's going to be moving in to the east over the next several hours. But look at the movement here. This, I'm going to put my arm right where the back end, I should say, of the rain is. After that, we are done. And then we're going to clear out rapidly as we head through tonight. Watch the clock. There's 6 o'clock. The system continues to move off the batch of rain to the east, 7, 8, and we are done. And behind that, it is a rapid clearing situation for us. So that's going to set us up for a chilly night overnight with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Look at that, 68 right now. The current temperature now, we've gone in the direction, swung the pendulum way to the left here. 81 is our normal high, 76. The last time we didn't have a temperature that reached at least 80 was back on Valentine's Day. That was the last time we were in the 70s, along with some rainfall as well. So this is what San Gonzalez typically shows you in the morning. Temperatures in the mid and upper 60s. The fact that I'm showing it to you after 5 o'clock is quite something. 15 degrees cooler than this time yesterday right now in Miami. Now tomorrow, a whole different deal. We're going to hang on to the very comfortable temperatures, but we're going to get rid of the rainfall, so it's going to be a spectacular day, the pick of the week. And then on Friday, our winds shift out of the south, and that will turn us a little bit warmer, but I still think Friday is looking good. And then we have to talk about the weekend here as we put this in motion, be able to see not much dew, and that easterly, south, and eventually a southwesterly flow will develop as we head through Saturday. But the next front that I'm watching is this one for Saturday. If you have outdoor plans on the weekend, move them to Saturday if you can. I really think Sunday is just going to be a wet day for us. Saturday will develop some thunderstorms in the afternoon, but it won't be a steady, heavy rain. I think that's what's coming for Sunday. So keep that in mind. That front's not going to move all that much. And so Sunday looks very wet to me right now. As far as the temperatures, there we have them in the upper 50s to lower 60s. That's the way you're going to wake up tomorrow. So it is going to be in the 70s in the afternoon with sunshine. Could be nice, but cool down big time here as we head into the morning hours. So bundle up if you are sensitive to temperatures at 60 or in the upper 60s. Most of us in South Florida are. And there's the weekend forecast there with the rain coming back, gusty winds, and there's Sunday, 70% rain chance, pretty much guaranteed that's going to rain there. And that continues, by the way, a busy pattern into early next week.
Ivan, thank you. A spectacular sight at the Kennedy Space Center. These just never get old. The SpaceX rocket lifted into orbit last night. Check it out. On board, nearly 6,300 pounds of food, hardware, and experiments. It docks tomorrow morning.
And we're getting a look at the new spacesuits that will be used on the Artemis moon missions. This prototype is black and orange, but the real one will be all white. NASA says the color helps protect against extreme high temperatures. These new suits come with specialized tools like an HD video camera and light band on the visor of the helmet. Astronauts will start using them during training in late summer.
And a major milestone for an 11-year-old from Sunrise who's got a lot to celebrate today. Avi had been undergoing chemo treatments at Broward Health Medical Center after being diagnosed with leukemia back in 2020. And now he is cancer-free. Doctors, nurses, and loving caregivers gathered to witness and cheer on Avi while he rang the bell in celebration. The fifth grader now aspires to be a hematologist doctor when he grows up to take care of people and help others feel better. Oh, I always love those ring the bell videos.
Yes,
They're
it's great
so
sound and great to see that team that he had there helping him get through this ordeal.
Absolutely.
All right, the news at 5:30 starts in a few minutes. Jim and Naja, what's coming up, guys?
Guys, a story you definitely want to see. A dramatic race to rescue, saving the life of a 3-year-old. A car goes into a canal with a child trapped inside. We'll show you how Miami-Dade police sprang into action.
Plus, celebrating women all month long, we introduce you to the trailblazers paving the way for performers to pursue their dreams.
But first, the Dirty Dozen, not the famous movie. We're talking about the just-released guide to pesticides and produce, what every consumer needs to know.
Coming up on the CBS Evening News, the race to rescue the wreckage from a U.S. Reaper drone after a Russian fighter jet forces it down in the Black Sea. And the new warning tonight from the Pentagon. All that and more on the CBS Evening News.
Back now with a consumer alert. Today, Honda announced a massive recall to some of its cars over potential safety concerns.
Over 500,000 of its vehicles are being recalled for faulty front seat belts. That includes 2017 to 2020 CR-V models, 2018 and 2019 Accords, 2018 to 2020 Odysseys, and 2019 Insights. A coating on the buckle can deteriorate over time, stopping the buckle from latching properly. Car owners affected by the recall could take it to their local dealership for a replacement. So far, no injuries have been reported. Because of this, owners will be notified by mail starting next month.
And you might want to be a little more cautious in the kitchen and make sure your groceries are clean. The 2023 Shopper's Guide to Pesticides and Produce is out, and strawberries and spinach own the top 2 slots on the so-called Dirty Dozen. Kale came in 3rd place, followed by 2 other greens, kale and mustard respectively. The researchers say if you can't buy organic, pesticide-free fruits and vegetables, it's important to properly wash those food items.
Well, on the other side of the spectrum, the EWG also released its Clean 15 list of items with the lowest amount of pesticide residues. And that includes the produce on your screen, like avocados, sweet corn, pineapple, mushrooms, and sweet potatoes.
So I don't have to scrub the mushroom caps anymore? I guess if they're dirty, but not for pesticides.
You don't have to scrub the avocados.
That's good. Ooh, we like those.
Nobody eats the peels, right?
No, that's right.
That does it for the news at 5.
CBS News Miami at 5:30 starts now.
This is CBS News Miami.